If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and comment below, and subscribe to our channel for more awesome collector videos.
Hi everybody, this is Chris Whitlock here in the Collector's Corner to talk to you about one of my favorite Star Wars items. This guy. This is a Empire Strikes Back 32 back Han Solo Hoth on a very, very beat up card back, but one that has a really cool message and absolutely one of my favorite beater items. Now this one here is actually rated 85, and people look at that and say, well, you can't look at this card back and say, well, how is this an 85? This is a black label preserved grade, all right? So what they did is this is a mint-on card. It's not a reseal. It's not something that's been opened, but we asked them to only take into account the condition of the action figure and ignore the card back. Sometimes people say, well, that's unfair, but the preserved grade was actually a CAS concept that they came up with to try to prevent U-grading, meaning that sometimes people would find a mint-on card figure where the card was kind of beat up, and they would say, well, they're probably better off just taking the mint figure off the beater card and getting it graded as a loose mint figure. Problem being is that there's probably one carded mint-on card figure for every 100 loose figures. And every time you open one up, it takes another mint-on card figure out of circulation. And there are people typically who sometimes maybe can't afford an 85 or an 80 and would be very happy with something that would grade a 40, but people will open them up and have them graded as a loose mint figure. And when there are other mint ones out and about, maybe if you look a little bit harder, you can find a mint one. So that was their concept behind this. And for me, I would never want this to be open, right? So this actually has a message inscribed on it. It says, "I'll never make you forget. It was the best movie I ever saw. Love you, Susan. XOXO. Xmas 1981. All right. It's probably some girlfriend, some guy had a girlfriend, and she probably saw this at a toy store, grabbed it as a memento from the movie, and gave it to him and wrote that on there. And that's awesome. I fell in love with this figure. I found it on eBay, and I remember I bookmarked it, and I was at one of my daughter, she was cheerleading at a football game, and then I bookmarked it and was talking to the family, and then I went back to it, and it had been delisted, and I was so bummed. And then like 10 minutes later, the seller relisted it, and I got in touch with them, and I absolutely had to have this. Just such a fun piece, something so unique, absolutely not mint, but so cool to have. But under no circumstances should this figure and card ever be separated. And I think that's the spirit of the preserved grade, and that there are some times that even if something is very ugly and not necessarily, not necessarily the greatest condition, it doesn't mean it should get open. I think these things should be preserved, and this is absolutely a really good reason to do that with this figure. So, anyways, if you want to talk to me about the preserved grade, you want to talk about some of the beater figures that you love, drop a comment below and we'll talk about it later. Thanks.